Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Again, we're here on Branch McCracken Court after an IU win over a ranked team. Robby Howard, Alex McCarthy from Inside Indiana as always. And yeah, Indiana does it again. They beat number 22,
Yes.
Ohio State here, 72-64. And it was a game that Indiana, midway through the first half, they fell behind 20-12 and then went on a 16-0 run to take obviously an 8-point lead, and we're kind of able to hold on to that for the rest of the game. I mean, Ohio State either tied it or came very close to tying it a couple times throughout the rest of the game, and it stayed close until the last minute or so of the game. But it was a game where, again, kind of like that Iowa game, where Indiana gets a lead and then holds on to it, which is something that kind of infamously this season they've been bad at. At Minnesota, at Nebraska. We don't have to go through all those again. But lately, it has been completely the opposite story for Indiana, where they get a lead and they fend off, their opponent for the rest of the game. They won 3 of 4, and they've played really since playing Purdue. They've played 7 really, really good halves of basketball and one disastrous one in the second half against Wisconsin. Because in the first half, they couldn't have played much better in that first half against Wisconsin. They were up 10. They held Wisconsin to 19 points, but then obviously the second half didn't go very well. But other than that, they played very, very well. In the one against Northwestern and Iowa, they also played well, kind of for at least 35 minutes of those games. They played very well. But tonight they actually played without possibly their best player in Noah Vonleh, because he's kind of had a foot thing all season, and it was acting up maybe a little bit more than usual recently, and he kind of just didn't want to play on it. And so tonight that kind of paved the way for a big night for Hunter Mosquera-Perea.
Yeah, HMP comes in and gets 8 points and 5 rebounds and 3 blocks, a new career high 3 blocks, and in 15 minutes of play, obviously he stepped in and got a lot of Vonleh's minutes, I think you could say. And also Jeremy Hollowell, Jeff Howard stepped in and got some more minutes tonight also. But Hunter was the big guy, and he had some big moments in the post, the biggest of which came with 3:33 to go when he caught like an alley-oop type pass from Yogi Ferrell and puts the layup in, gets fouled by LaQuinton Ross. So it's his 5th foul, so he was gone with over 3 minutes to play in a tight game, and he had a big night for Ohio State, actually scored 19, so that was big for IU just to get Ross out of the game. But so Hunter gets the free throw, and IU goes from being just up 3 to up 6, and Ohio State's without one of their best players. And so that was one of the big momentum shifts in the game, and it revolved around Hunter Mosquera-Perea.
Yeah, certainly, and it's something that not only was it kind of unusual to see Hunter make that play, but it was kind of before this 4-game stretch, it was kind of unusual to see Indiana make that play, because they always have that opportunity, that 3-pointer that could have gone down, that rebound they could have gotten, that whatever. And for a lot of the year, they just haven't been able to make that one kind of play to turn the game around or to hold on to whatever lead they have. And they've been making those plays recently. They've been making big threes. They've been getting those rebounds. They've been getting those 3-point plays, things like that, which has been. You look at a handful of plays per game that can totally sway the result, and that was one of them. And it's something that Indiana's done a lot more frequently lately. But speaking of big plays, Will Sheehey was making a lot of them tonight, just like he was on Thursday when Indiana beat Iowa. He scored 30 against Iowa. He scores 19 tonight. He's really efficient. He's 8 for 12 from the floor and 3 for 5 from behind the arc, which was. In that 30-point game, I think he was 2 for 7 from 3-point, and which was kind of the one thing that you could look at and be like, well, that's something he didn't do well. He did that really well tonight. And Sheehey said after that Iowa game that he wasn't happy with his defense. Tonight he gets, I think, 4 steals. And he played very, very well, even when he wasn't getting steals. And he played basically the whole game. He and Yogi Ferrell both played 38 minutes tonight, which has been a theme for them, actually, through the season, which I guess I've kind of noticed but haven't really looked it up. I looked it up after the game, and there have only been 2 games in Big Ten play where Will Sheehey hasn't played 30 minutes, and there have been no games in Big Ten play where Yogi Ferrell hasn't played 30 minutes, which speaks both to how much Indiana needs them, especially Farrell, because they just don't have that much depth at point guard. But it speaks to how much Indiana needs them in the game on both ends of the court, and to how smart they've played, where they haven't gotten in foul trouble, they haven't, had really bad strings of turnover things where Tom Green will want to pull them or something like that, where they've been very, very consistent, even when they aren't scoring maybe as much as you want to see them score. But they played very, very well, and they played enormously long minutes. And kind of on the opposite side of that, Aaron Craft played all 40 minutes tonight for Ohio State, and maybe didn't play his best game ever. They were kind of able to shut him down, and it's not like he's this offensive, juggernaut or anything like that. Good word. But I know, apparently. But still, he's a fairly efficient player. He doesn't shoot that much, but he makes half the shots that he takes or whatever. Tonight he took the most shots that he has taken in a game all season, 11, and made 2. So they really, really threw him off his game. Really, as a whole, they threw Ohio State kind of off their game.
Yeah, I mean, from 3-point range, Ohio State was 0 for 11. First time a team's been 0 for from the 3-point line against Indiana since 2003, January 2003.
Which was also Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, again, IU's defense tonight, really big. And another thing to talk about was the rebounding. You look at it, IU out-rebounds Ohio State 34-32, and you might think that that's not that big of a deal, but you have to remember that this was IU without Noah Vonleh.
Right, the Big Ten's leading rebounder.
Exactly. So to still do that, and you're going against guys like Amir Williams, who are massive, much bigger than the front line that IU is throwing out there, who their biggest guy most of the night was probably like 6'8".
Yeah.
So
in that range.
Yeah, definitely a very good job defensively and cleaning up the boards.
Yeah, and those are kind of huge things that Indiana always really, really wants to do well. That and free throw shooting. They were 17 for 21 from the line tonight, so very good. They hit their shots late, their free throws late, just like they did against Iowa. And it's just kind of, they've figured out kind of the formula, it seems like, to win, which is something that they've been searching for all season. And it seems like they found it. The question is it too late, basically, to kind of make that run, go to the NCAA tournament? We'll see what happens. That Nebraska game now is enormous in terms of bolstering that resume, that postseason resume. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not sure what time it is. If it's a 7 or 9.
It's a 7 o'clock game.
It is. It's 7. We'll be there, obviously. It'll be kind of a late night because of all the senior day stuff. But it should be a lot of fun.
I love senior day.
Yeah, senior. It's your senior day
my
too.
Senior day, yeah.
I think Robby's going to be giving a speech after the game. Maybe not to
I'll be on the court, of course.
Yeah. Maybe we'll film it. Maybe we'll post that instead of overtime. But stay tuned for that, and definitely stay tuned for our coverage leading up to that in what is basically the biggest week of Indiana's season so far. So for Robby Howard, I'm Alex McCarthy of Inside Indiana, and you have a good first half of your week.